right section of the cage for a older fresh breeze Simonini. As you can see, the string is broke in the center of the cage section, and the previous owner tied some white string together to stop it from further unraveling and being able to still use the paramotor. I'm going to show you an easier way to restring the section without having to use some long wire to fish the line through. So the tools I'll be using are a regular Ryobi drill with a 7/64 drill bit. I have a pair of clippers. I have a pair of scissors for the string. I have a lighter to melt the end, which you all understand that. I also have some magnets and some steel nails that I will use one of them, and I'll clip the head off of that nail and put it inside the end of the string and melt it in there, and then I can use the magnets to draw the string through. To prep the braided masonry line that I'm using, I thought yellow would work best with the red frame of the Fresh Breeze. You just want to clean it up just a little bit. Make sure you got a nice point on it, and then that's what you want to have to be able to be the point to draw through the holes in the frame itself. Then you take the nail, if I can find it, and you push it into the braid, not all the way through, just part of the way. Something like this. So you can see where the nail is inside the braid. Push it up there right next to the end of the string as best you can. You don't need a big section of the steel nail. And then you bring your big snippers in. And snip it nice and close. And break it off. So you can see that's still in the string. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide that in the rest of the way into the center of the braid, and then we're going to go ahead and melt around it and on the back side of the string enough so that that little piece of steel nail doesn't slide back out. So what I've done is melted around the string with that piece of steel nail in the tip of it, so that way I can thread it through and then use the magnet to drag it inside the tube to the next hole and then draw it out of the next hole. I'm just going to go ahead and take this one section, plug section, and drill rivet out of it so that I can start from that section. It'll make it easier. So I've drilled out the rivet and pulled the old parts of the rivet out and pulled the connector out of the hole so that we can start stringing the line through the cage. I'm going to go ahead and pull all the old string out before I start restringing it. So I've pulled all the string out and I'm getting ready to start to thread the string through the holes. I have my trusty diagram on my phone, and here's the string that I'm going to use with the little metal piece in the very end of that string. Okay, full disclosure, I couldn't find the magnets that I used the first time, so I was going to try these things, but they don't work. These are little like office metal poster board magnets, but you can see how strong they are. Okay. Oop. So that's why you need to use these things. They're just got a little plastic piece on them, but they're cylindrical in shape and cheap to get. So now I'll get back to stringing it. So I'm not going to show you all the stringing of the whole cage, but I will show you some of the more tricky points as I go through. But just to kind of start, I'll show you how easy it is to draw the string in and then pull it through the hole that it has to go through. So we've got to go through the first hole, which is right here, and the string is right here, and I'll go ahead and slide it in. And then if you watch the string, it will move when I draw the magnet to it. I draw it over, and then up, and out the hole. That's how easy it is. At this point, I've drawn the line through the majority of the ones left to right, and now I'm changing direction at, I believe it's number 17 up to 18 to the top of the bar. So just wanted to show you this piece of it here where I've strung through and pulled through most of the extra so that I can go the rest of the way. I'll show you a couple more details when you got to pop out of a hole that the string is already in, just so you see how that works with the magnets and stuff. But the reality is it's pretty straightforward. Alright, another tricky spot, it would seem anyway, is trying to get it from hole 20, which is also hole 16, down to hole 21. But with the magnet, just draw the string through. You might have to push it in a little bit, get the string caught on it, on the magnet, and you can just draw it down. And if you lose it, you can just draw it back and you'll be able to pick it up again. And then just kind of play with it a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't pop right out of the hole. Might not have enough slack in it. There we go. And just draw it out of hole 21. Alright, so at this point I've got all the lines through. I may or may not show you part of the video where I had to unstring it and restring it, but with the magnet it makes it really easy to pull it back out and redo it again to make sure you got it set in the right spots. So what I'm going to do is, I haven't tied knots in either end yet, but that's the next step I'm going to go through, and once I get done with that, I'll show you the finished product. As far as getting it tightened, you just got to kind of work each end as best you can and draw it tight through, and eventually you get it pretty snug. It's not can't just pull a string and make it all tight, but you can work it out, kind of like dealing with your shoelaces when you're trying to tighten them all up. You do start at the bottom, just kind of keep drawing the line up to make it tight. Okay, so with the help of my wife, we got it all tightened up pretty well, pretty snug across all the lines. Took a little bit of work for sure, but we finally got it. So now that I've tied the knots, the last step is to put the plug in the end. Unfortunately, I don't have the rivet to do it, so I'm going to have to go to my friend's house, and he has all the rivet stuff that I'm going to need. Hopefully you can appreciate the value of this little string and that little piece of steel inside the end of it when it comes to restringing your Fresh Breeze frame, either whether it's the top 80 or the Simonini. Because this little, and then your little high-powered magnet here, it just makes it so much easier to string the line through. Hopefully some of you all can take advantage of this and not have to worry about trying to thread a piece of wire through and grab the string and stuff like that. I think you'll find this to be a lot easier, and if you make a mistake along the way, you can pull it out and it will be just as easy to redo what you undid. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a safe flying.